Chapter 1: The Clerk Who Traveled Through Time and Space. It was getting dark, but the lights were still brightly lit in the office. Xiao Bei and his colleagues are still working overtime here. Now that the economy is weak, it has reached a critical moment of life and death for such small trading companies. Due to the loss of several large orders, the boss has been depressed these days and has fired several lazy employees. Therefore, the remaining people are much more honest. If the boss has nothing to say, no one can get off work. As a 25-year-old young salesman, Xiao Bei's sales performance is very good, and he is also highly regarded by his boss. Now everyone is staring at the few orders in his hand. Whether the trading company can survive depends entirely on this ace salesman. Xiao Bei sorted out the order forms, raised his head, and looked at his boss, only to see him still sitting behind the door with a livid face, holding the company's current accounts for the previous month in a daze. Xiao Bei sighed in his heart. As an employee, he sympathized with his boss. After all, if the company couldn't survive, everyone would fall apart and no one would be left behind. In this solemn atmosphere, the office was eerily quiet, and the only thing that could be heard was the ticking of the wall clock. Suddenly, the cell phone rang. Judging from the familiar march, it was Xiao Bei's fake cell phone that was ringing. Everyone raised their heads and looked at Xiao Bei, and the boss's eyes almost glowed. Xiao Bei opened the cover of his phone with trembling hands and saw a few lines of words flashing on the screen of his phone. This was a text message. Do you want to travel through time? If you want to, please press 1. If you don't want to, please press 2. If not, you will choose to travel by default. Xiao Bei muttered, "It's not a customer's call, it's a spam text message." There was a sigh in the office, and the boss's livid face almost turned black. Xiao Bei was about to turn off his phone, but after glancing at the screen, he changed his mind because this text message was really weird. When he feels depressed like this, it's good to make some adjustments. Besides, as a happy bachelor, Xiao Bei's biggest hobby is reading time travel novels online. So, he pressed 1 without hesitation and then watched those lines of words disappear from the screen. Is there no further text? Xiao Bei was a little surprised. According to past experience, text messages like this usually come one after another, but now, the phone screen has become blank. Just when he was wondering, the phone suddenly emitted a dazzling white light, covering Xiao Bei's entire body. Everyone, please don't buy counterfeit goods, Xiao Bei's screams came from the white light. After a burst of crackling, his whole person disappeared along with the white light that quickly disappeared. The desk became empty, and a few order forms fluttered on the floor. Then everything fell silent. In full view of the public, the ace salesman, Xiao Bei, disappeared, along with his copycat mobile phone. After a while, the colleagues came back to their senses, and suddenly they were in a panic. They were crawling around the table and talking on the phone. The boss's eyes went black and he fainted. Although the police, reporters, and even feng shui masters later tried hard to track down Xiao Bei's whereabouts, nothing was found. Xiao Bei's disappearance became a mystery, and no one saw him again. Xiao Bei's vision went dark, and he felt as if he had fallen into an abyss. In a sudden spin, he fell heavily and hit the roof. Then he rolled down the eaves to the street, grinning after falling. Ouch! After groaning miserably, Xiao Bei regained his consciousness, but his eyes were still dark. He looked up at the sky and saw some stars. These are not Venus, but stars in the night sky. It is night now. The wind is cold, the moon is cold, and there is no sound. Are you kidding? Have you really traveled through time? Xiao Bei stood up, touched his forehead, raised his head, and saw a lantern hanging under the eaves behind him. The eaves and lantern were simple in shape. Recalling the scene just now, he felt like he was dreaming. The familiar cell phone ringtone rang, and Xiao Bei saw his fake cell phone. The culprit who caused him to travel through time was now lying at his feet. In the darkness, the small color screen of the mobile phone flickered stubbornly, and the sweet marching music sounded particularly loud in this silent street. Zhao Bei leaned over to pick up the phone and glanced at the screen, only to see another text message on it. Congratulations on your successful time travel. It is now November 1908 AD, and the location is Anqing City, Anhui Province. After receiving this message, please throw this phone 20 meters away within 5 seconds, because this phone is about to self-destruct. If you don't want to be blown up, throw it now. Now, start the self-destruction countdown. 5, 4. Do it! Zhao Bei looked at these cold lines of text messages, cursed, and threw the damn copycat out without hesitation. In desperation, Zhao Bei did not observe carefully. He just followed the street and threw the phone out with all his strength. After he got rid of the phone, he let out a long sigh of relief, then quickly crawled to the ground and covered his ears with his hands. A few seconds later, there was a boom, a ball of flames, and a deafening noise. The small and exquisitely crafted fake mobile phone exploded. Hot air waves mixed with masonry fragments came overwhelmingly, scattering all over the street. Even Zhao Bei was hit by a lot of broken tiles. Fuck. What kind of battery? You can't buy this counterfeit product. Zhao Bei tried his best to calm down. Recalling the scene when he bought the mobile phone, he felt more and more that the mobile phone dealer had a sinister smile on his face and didn't look like a good person. Time traveled? 1908. The end of the Qing dynasty? In 3 years, it will be 1911, the revolution of 1911, a great era. Zhao Bei looked up and saw a mess near where the mobile phone landed. In the firelight, some figures could be seen indistinctly, howling and scurrying. In the background was a collapsed city wall. The huge gap in the wall was obviously the masterpiece of the mobile phone. What surprised him even more was that it was only now that he discovered that just across the street corner not far from him, the row of low houses along the street were filled with soldiers holding rifles. The lanterns hanging under the eaves of the shops facing the street showed the shock on their faces, which surprised Zhao Bei. Those soldiers all had big braids on the back of their heads, which obviously confirmed the text messages sent to them on their mobile phones. It was the Qing dynasty now. Damn, no pigtails. Zhao Bei reached out and touched the back of his head, waiting for the soldiers to swarm him and arrest him, the rebel, without pigtails, to collect the reward. But unexpectedly, the braided soldiers did not step forward to arrest the rebels. Instead, after a moment of hesitation, they burst into cheers. The city gate exploded. The patrol has escaped. That man blew open the city gate. Who knows him? It's not like our people. He doesn't have braids. Is he a selector sent by the Democratic Party? His bomb is so powerful. It's more powerful than a cannonball. No matter who he is, they are all on the same boat anyway. Guandai Shui. Lead us to fight out and meet the people outside the city. This troop huddled on the street corner and making noises is the new army in Anqing City. It belongs to the 2nd Infantry Battalion of the 62nd Biao Regiment, of the 31st Mixed Association Brigade, of the new 6th Army of the Qing Empire. It is led by Guandai Battalion Commander Shuizha. There are more than 100 officers and soldiers in total, which is only the size of a team company. This unit is usually stationed at the infantry camp school yard inside the north gate of Anqing City. According to military regulations, they must not be mobilized without the order of Lord Futai. But now, this team of more than 100 people left their posts without authorization, pulled out of the barracks at night, and drove to the north gate area. They've been lurking here for a long time. The reason for this is very simple, because according to the plan of the revolutionaries, the new army troops of the 31st Mixed Association of Anhui will launch an uprising tonight, capture the provincial capital Anqing, and fire the first shot of the new army's uprising against the Qing dynasty. As early as more than a year ago, a small-scale anti-Qing uprising broke out in Anqing City. Su Shilin, the city's patrol office, Taoist and member of the Guangfu Society, took advantage of the graduation ceremony of the Anhui Patrol Academy to lead the patrol trainees in an uprising. He stabbed Meng, the governor of Anhui, who was attending the ceremony, to death. Although the uprising failed a few hours later, the fire of revolution was not extinguished. It just lurked underground. When the time comes, it can turn into fire and rush to the ground, sweeping away the stale. That uprising was just a small part of the turbulent revolutionary wave in the late Qing dynasty. With the further expansion of the power of the great powers, the land of China was devastated, coupled with the extremely decadent and hopeless madness of the Manchu officialdom. With such violent oppression, the common people could no longer survive. Refugees, bandits, and party members became the main force of the rebellion. The land of China was already ablaze with wars and smoke. The shabby house of the Manchu Qing dynasty creaked and crumbled in the wind and rain. The house was leaking due to continuous rain. News came from the capital a few days ago that the Western Empress Dowager Cixi, who had been in charge of the Qing Empire for more than 40 years, had died on November 15th. The day before her death, her puppet, Guangxu, the nominal emperor of the Qing Empire, also died suddenly under house arrest in Ingtai. However, in just 2 days, the Qing Empire's political affairs, the situation in the world suddenly changed. The 3-year-old Huangkou child Puai inherited the throne, changed his name to Xiantong, and became the emperor of the Qing Empire. The young ruler was suspicious of the country, and people were panicked. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the revolutionaries headed by the Guangfui decided to rise again and fired the first shot of the new army uprising in Anqing City, awakening the sleeping people with action. In the past, the revolutionaries mostly relied on the Hui Party to initiate rebellions. However, after suffering successive defeats, they realized that the Hui Party was undisciplined and could not be relied on, so they began to turn their attention to the new army and instigated the new army to revolt. The formation and training of the new army in the late Qing dynasty began during the Sino-Japanese War of 1894. In view of the fact that the old army was too weak to withstand foreign humiliation, the Guangxi inspectorate was who? Das Hualpu, dus Tofat? Times? Now it's difficult to wait for the Song dynasty to chase the fresh mallet, lots, stagnant wine, in danger, food to support gauze-boat starlings, burning fat pigeons, Song Xiao. Time, earned 2 by yin roasting, bao, chow, playful call killing, kiss the concubine, Wenibu, hang chain, protect the charming oysterchen to shore do, bao, li pu ba is all equal to thorn this, drop the target is all equal to arrest, bao, pai mi, unbiskyang slightly lon. The 8-power Allied forces invaded China in 1900. Although a peace treaty was later signed, the situation across the country was turbulent and the Qing court's rule was in danger. In order to save the decline, the Qing court accelerated that the new army has been organized and trained, while sending a large number of overseas students to Japan for further study to improve the quality of officers. It is also reducing the old army. The saved military expenses will be used to expand the new army. It plans to organize and train the new army in 36 towns, divisions, across the country, with a total of nearly 400,000 standing troops. According to this ambitious training plan, one province of Anhui should organize and train one new army town. However, due to lack of funds, despite the efforts of several governors, only one mixed association was formed. It was the temporary 31st Mixed Association, stationed inside and outside Anqing City, the provincial capital, to suppress the ground. A month ago, the 6th military headquarters of the Qing dynasty held a new army exercise in Taihu, Anhui province. Note, according to the original plan to test the combat effectiveness of the new army and familiarize themselves with the combat environment and terrain of the south. The main force in the exercise was the 2 new army units from the south. One was a hybrid composed of several new units from the 9th town of the Jiangsu New Army. The 9th town and the other is the mixed 11th town, which is composed of some troops from the Hubei 21st Mixed Association and the 8th town. In addition, the Beiyang New Army also sent some troops and officers south to observe the exercise. As the host of the exercise location, the Anhui New Army also sent a small number of troops to the exercise site to join the exercise. Note, This Taihu Lake is not the other Taihu Lake, but Taihu County under the jurisdiction of Anhui Province. It is located on the north bank of the Yangtze River in southwest Anhui, not far from the eastern boundary of Hubei Province and at the southern foot of the Debi Mountains. Not only that, the governor of Anhui also accompanied Minister Guansao to Taihu County and took away many of the patrol battalion troops originally stationed in Anqing, the provincial capital. As a result, the defense of the provincial capital was empty. After the death of the Empress Dowager Cixi, the revolutionary situation was excellent. The revolutionaries acted decisively and organized the Anqing New Army Uprising. In addition to the members of the Guangfui, the backbone of the Anqing New Army Uprising included a few revolutionaries from the Yuangui and the Tongmengui. The person specifically responsible for commanding the uprising was the young Guangfui cadre Xiong Qingji. By this evening, the 21-year-old artillery battalion officer, company commander, had been elected as the commander-in-chief and was fully responsible for commanding the uprising. Since the 9th town of the Jiangsu New Army that participated in the Taihu Autumn Exercises has received the edict of the new emperor's accession to the throne, the Autumn Exercises, military exercises, have ended early, and the 9th town is about to return to Jiangning, Nanjing, to suppress the ground. The Hubei New Army that participated in the exercises will also drive back to Wucheng. The Anhui governor who watched the exercises rushed back to the provincial capital a few days ago to take charge. Now that time was running out, the uprising headquarters decided to start an uprising early that night. After capturing Anqing City and obtaining ammunition supplies, they would advance eastward in one go and attack Nanjing, which was empty of defenses before Qiu Chao's troops could rush back. This caused a sensation and caused the world to respond and overthrow the Qing dynasty in one fell swoop. According to the uprising plan, after the artillery camp and horse camp stationed outside the city broke out, they would first capture the ammunition depot at Linguzui in the north of the city and obtain rifle bullets. Then the insurgent troops would drag the artillery back south and attack Anqing City. Since the uprising troops lacked artillery shells, and Anqing was the capital of Anhui Province, the city had strong defenses and was defended by a large number of old army patrols. It had sufficient ammunition, and it was difficult to attack directly. Therefore, the uprising headquarters contacted one of the new army infantry battalions stationed in the city in advance and ordered Shueja, a cadre of the Yuanghui and the new military controller, to lead a team to lurk in the North City area, waiting for an opportunity to capture the North Gate and welcome the uprising troops outside the city to enter the city. Now, the new army outside the city has mobilized as promised. With the help of the internal response, they have seized the ammunition depot outside the city without bloodshed. The entire team has assembled and quietly lurked outside the city, waiting for the gunfire from the infantry battalion in the city. But when things came to an end, Shueja, the commander of the uprising in the city, wavered. When he led his men, who were short of ammunition, to the North Gate, they found that the number of guards at the city gate had doubled. They were all patrol soldiers with sufficient ammunition. There were also signs on the city gate. A machine gun was set up. Seeing this scene, the usually timid Shueja's confidence was shaken. At this time, the city gate was closed and information was cut off. He didn't know whether the insurgent troops outside the city had arrived near the city wall, so he never dared to signal for the gate. If the troops inside the city cannot raise their troops to respond within the agreed time, then the insurgent troops outside the city can only attack by force. Time and patience passed by minute by second due to Shueja's hesitation. Just when the soldiers of the infantry team lost their courage, Xiao Bei rolled down from the eaves of the street to the street and then threw the fake cell phone out. The self-destructed cell phone was right in the middle of Shueja's hesitation. It fell into the city gate more than 50 meters away, blasting the closed city gate into pieces. At the same time, the patrol soldiers guarding the city gate were frightened and fled in all directions. The residents living nearby were also frightened by the sudden explosion, but they did not dare to go out to find out what was going on. The rebel officers and soldiers huddled on the street corner, using a light to clearly see the action of Xiao Bei throwing his mobile phone. They knew that it was this young man without pigtails who threw the bomb and blew open the city gate. Of course, because they were squatting on the street corner, they could not see the situation on the roof at all, so they did not. I don't know where Xiao Bei came from. I only know that he is an anti-Qing righteous man. Moreover, like Su Shilin back then, he is not afraid of death and is dedicated to fighting against the Qing dynasty and prospering the Han dynasty. Otherwise, he would not carry such a powerful bomb with him. In fact, just before Xiao Bei threw out his mobile phone, he had already been exposed. The sweet ringtone of the mobile phone not only attracted the attention of the uprising soldiers hiding on the street corner, but also attracted the attention of the patrol team guarding the city gate. After all, the place where he was standing was very close to the city gate, and it was on this road directly opposite the city gate. At the street entrance, there was a shop next to it, with lanterns hanging under the eaves. In this silent night, the ringtone of the mobile phone could be heard far away. The patrol leader saw a person standing at the street entrance. He was about to send someone to check, but before he took a few steps, the mobile phone flew over and blew up the city gate together with a pipe belt. Neither the new army soldiers nor the patrol soldiers had ever seen such a violent explosion. The explosive power of the mobile phone was so amazing that it not only blew up the city gate, but also collapsed a section of the city wall. If they had not known that Xiao Bei was one of their own, the new army soldiers would have dispersed in a rush. Tick, 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 tock. Woo, woo. A loud bugle sounded outside the city, and the horn also sounded at the same time. The sight of the city gate exploding also shocked the insurgent troops lurking outside the city, so that it took a full half-minute after the explosion for the charge horn to start the attack. Pa, pa, bang, bang. Suddenly, gunshots and shouts rang out outside the north gate, and the whooshing sound of bullets streaking across the night sky was heard endlessly. The insurgent troops outside the city launched an attack as scheduled. A moment later, the faint troops outside the east gate also launched an attack. At the same time, several buildings outside the city were also set on fire by the insurgent troops. Fire soared into the sky, turning half of the sky red. The city of Anqing was suddenly shrouded in panic. Xiao Bei, who had never been on a battlefield, was startled by the sudden battle, but the rebel soldiers who were responding to the troops outside the city became excited. This situation is caused by soldiers from outside the city coming to kill us. Brothers, go to meet them. Shui Guandai, don't wait any longer. Give the order. Shui Guandai, Shui Guandai. Where have they gone? The boy named Shui ran away. I have long said that the person named Shui is a softy. He is unreliable. Even officials